So guys, we have the breaking stuff this afternoon. The AP poll officially released, and the major alert: Georgia passing the Ohio State University. I'm going to react to all of it. The full top 25, just looking at 1 through 3, because I really think at this point in college football, early in the season, we can separate these teams by tiers, and it's clear the top 3 teams are in a separate tier, at least at this point. Georgia coming in at number 2. Taking a look at the total points, Alabama receiving 44 first place votes. Georgia had 17. Ohio State had 2. The points were very similar. Looks like Georgia has about 40 more points than Ohio State. And I'll be honest with you guys, right after the Ohio State game ended, I thought they were going to stay at 2. It's just silly me, right? Just because they did beat a top 10 team, I do understand Georgia passing them. They beat Oregon. But if you actually look at the context of that Oregon game, it was a very weird situation. Really, really odd. And actually, Oregon's outside of the top 25 right now. But that whole thing with the sham neutral site game with Dan Lanning basically worshiping Kirby Smart. What a weird situation that is. But listen, I respect Georgia. Stenson Bennett, I'm not scared by him at this point. But Alabama number 1, they win 55-0, I think it was. No surprises. There were some people that said, Georgia should be in front of Alabama too. That's kind of the whole debate of, should preseason rankings matter? Technically, Georgia in 2022 has done way more on the field than Alabama because Georgia beat Oregon, Alabama beat Utah State. I'm fine with keeping Alabama number 1. Personally, I would have Ohio State number 2 because I just don't understand penalizing Ohio State for gutting out a win. I actually am more convinced now than I've ever been that Ohio State is going to win the national championship after they gutted out a tough win against a Notre Dame team who might not be that good. But again, it's early in the season. These are growing pains. You're not going to beat everyone 70-0. It is what it is, but I understand Georgia being number 2. It's Bama 1, Georgia 2, Ohio State 3. Those 3 teams are on a separate tier right now. And then who's number 4, right? Because Clemson, they end up blowing out Georgia Tech last night. The offense is still broken, in my opinion. So Michigan takes the number 4 spot. I do think they will roll with J.J. McCarthy. That's kind of the team that everyone's talking about at number 4. I've probably seen about 15 or 20 different people's rankings, and they've all got Michigan at number 4. Of course, Michigan's not going to have a challenging game until week 5 when they travel to Iowa. And I think that will be a challenging game. It'll be big noon. But Iowa's just a miserable place to play. Clemson coming in at number 5. They got to start the true freshman quarterback, in my opinion. The offense is just broken. But actually, I think the even bigger problem for Clemson, the lack of overall playmakers on the outside. There's no Mike Williams. There's no Justin Ross. There's no T. Higgins for Clemson. So I think Clemson is in trouble this year. They keep A&M at 6. I would have dropped A&M. I don't know why A&M was at 6 to begin with. Obviously, they're one of the most talented rosters in college football. The issue is they're all true freshmen. And against Sam Houston, the quarterback play, it's just lacking in my opinion. They face Appalachian State this week, so we'll see. But they come in at number 6. Oklahoma at number 7. They crushed UTEP. Notre Dame falls 3 spots, so still very respectable. Notre Dame at number 8. If I was a Notre Dame fan, I'd be concerned about the game against Clemson, although that's a winnable game. You have to think Notre Dame at home against a Clemson team, if they're starting DJ Uiagalelei, Notre Dame might actually be almost favored in that game. It's just Clemson's, they've got a great, unbelievable defense. Top 3 defense in college football. The offense is broken, again, in my opinion. So Notre Dame, that's fine. You're going to fall down 3 spots. The loss to Ohio State, the offense wasn't good, but Notre Dame's defense was very impressive against the Buckeyes. Baylor coming in at number 9. I think they're overrated. And then USC at number 10. They move up 4 spots after crushing Rice. So USC, a top 10 team now, getting momentum. They've got a big ABC game against Stanford that I think they're going to crush Stanford. I believe they're 9-point favorites. I would bet a lot on USC to cover the 9-point spread in Stanford in that game. Moving down the list, we've got Oklahoma State at number 11. Florida debuts at number 12. So the AP voters, I guess, are saying because Florida beat Utah, we can't keep Utah in front of Florida. It's an interesting kind of situation because honestly, on a neutral field, I'm guessing Utah would still be the favorites. Florida won that game at home. It was very even. I'm not saying, Utah should be in front of Florida, but I think it's very close. But I understand if you want it based on precedent, based on head-to-head, the game just happened, Florida won, you have to put Florida in front of Utah. So they have Florida all the way up to number 12, which is this is the major issue with the SEC and with, Utah losing, guys. I said it was going to be a big problem. It is. Florida's already knocking on the door of being a top 10 team, and if they beat Kentucky, they will be a top 10 team. So this is a major issue. This is why we all wanted Utah to win. Now, Utah falls to number 13. Michigan State moves up 1. Miami moves up 1. They didn't face anyone. Arkansas moves up 3 after their win over Cincinnati. I've got no problem with that. Pittsburgh is sitting at 17 after their, I would not punish Pittsburgh. That was a very nice win. Great crowd energy. I like that. And then moving 18, NC State down 5 spots. Very easily could have lost to East Carolina. NC State has completely lost all of their off-season hype. I mean, there were people talking about NC State being a top 7, top 8 team. They come out at number 13 in the AP poll. A lot of people surprised they were ranked that low. And then they lay an egg at East Carolina and get bailed out by a bad college kicker. So they're at number 18. Wisconsin moves down 1. They crushed Illinois State, so it is what it is. Kentucky debuts at number 20 after hammering Miami of Ohio. I think BYU is better than Kentucky, but, Kentucky's a good team. They are. It'll be interesting, the whole situation with their running back, Chris Rodriguez, who is still suspended, and I don't think we really have a status update on him. We've got BYU, who one of the most impressive performances in week 1, going cross-country to South Florida, crushing them. Not even close. I think it was 38-0 at one point. I think they beat Baylor this week and catapult inside of the top 15. This BYU team is experienced. They're really, really good. Ole Miss at 22, really bad performance by Jackson Dart in his opening game. I believe they faced Troy. They won like 28-10. Just a bad offensive performance. We'll see if Jackson Dart can turn it around against Central Arkansas. We've got Wake Forest at 23. They're on the road at Vanderbilt, and I think they're only an 8-point favorites. Sam Hartman still out with an undisclosed injury or some medical procedure. Very odd situation with Sam Hartman and Wake Forest. We've got Tennessee cracking the top 25 after their blowout Thursday night win over Ball State. I don't really have an issue with that. I know Tennessee. Well, you know what? I think Penn State's better than Tennessee. Yeah, I do have a problem with that. Penn State is better than Tennessee. And then 20, I have a major. Yeah, Houston. I understand you want to move Houston down 1 spot. It was not a great performance week 1 against UTSA, but I think Houston's a really good team. They're going to prove it this week. They're going to beat Texas Tech. They moved down to 25, and then the others receiving votes. So Oregon, who was ranked number 11, after their performance against Georgia, they are off. They would be the number 26 team. Penn State would be number 27. I would have Penn State ranked, personally. Texas would be 28. Of course, I'm sure Fox is pretty pissed Texas isn't ranked. They would love to market that as a ranked game this weekend, their big noon game. Obviously, this situation will get sorted out. If Texas plays Alabama close, they'll rank them 100%. And if Alabama blows out Texas, Texas will, obviously not be ranked. Cincinnati getting 63 votes. Florida State getting 42 votes. Fresno State is down there. UCF. Minnesota, who's kind of a sexy pick to win the Big Ten West. Kansas State. I really like Kansas State. It'll be interesting to see Kansas State and how their schedule sets up. Auburn's a dumpster fire. Mississippi State gets 10 votes. Yeah, no. Air Force, I've heard a lot of good things about Air Force. We will see what happens with Air Force. Oregon State with a dominant win against Boise State. A lot of people were surprised by that result. I know Vegas made a ton of money off of that game because that game opened Oregon State -3. And you just look at the program history of Boise State compared to Oregon State. Everyone was like, oh, Boise State, Boise State. All they do is win. The spread gets bet down to like 1.5, and then Oregon State annihilates them. North Carolina gets 3 votes. They have no defense. People were telling me that because I was saying maybe Notre Dame might struggle with North Carolina. North Carolina literally has no defense. So Drake May has looked good, but they have such a horrifically bad defense. You allow 40 points in 1 quarter. That's inexcusable, folks. That's just inexcusable. South Carolina gets 2 votes. Not a good debut for Spencer Rattler. We will see. They have a decently tough matchup this week. Wait, they're at Arkansas, I believe, this week. So that'll be a big challenge. Purdue gets 1 vote after losing. After losing at home, Purdue gets a vote. UCLA gets a vote, of course, after destroying Bowling Green. No, I like UCLA, honestly. I do. And then Arizona. Arizona football is back. Arizona gets a vote after their big Week 1 win. So, guys, I think the major takeaways of this poll overall, it's Georgia passing Ohio State. It's the idea Ohio State beating a top 10 team and getting past, I just think the whole context of the Georgia performance was really weird. I won't get too much into it, but it's, it doesn't matter whether you're ranked 2 or 3 or whatever, just as long as you win this early in the season, the optics of it, whatever. So Georgia is 2, Ohio State 3. Georgia was definitely more dominant. Ohio State's offense definitely struggled without Jackson Smith-Njigba. Certainly. Understandable. And then who is that 4th team? Well, right now it looks like it's Michigan. My question would be, if Texas A&M throttles Appalachian State, is that a possible situation where A&M would move up to number 4 or at least number 5? Because Appalachian State is a decent team. They are 0-1, but they're still a decent program. So that'll be interesting to see if A&M can make any noise there. The biggest matchup of the week is, in my opinion, in terms of best matchup, it's got to be the I guess you could say Texas, Alabama, but I'm expecting that to be a blowout. I'll say Baylor and BYU as the best matchup for me personally. But the major takeaways, Ohio State is down 1 spot. Michigan is the number 4 team. Notre Dame still inside the top 10. Utah falls to 13. Florida catapults within shouting distance of the top 10. Those are the major stories here as we enter week 2. Guys, when it comes to these poll releases, just so you know, a new AP poll will be released every Sunday at 2 o'clock. The reason this is being released on Tuesday is because there was a Sunday night game and a Monday night game. Obviously, all of those windows are going to be overtaken by the NFL. So all college football will be done by Sunday morning, and that will allow, and this every year it's like this, the AP poll will be released at 2 o'clock, and that will be kind of our gospel to follow, and then we will just completely throw it away when the playoff committee starts doing their ratings. I believe that happens late October. So that is kind of the outline, the situation right now for college football. But just wanted to go over the AP poll. Guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.